Hello there, thank you so much for joining me. Welcome to this, the first in a series of videos I'm going to be recording while we're all incarcerated, hiding away from the COVID-19 virus. And I thought it'd be nice to share some of my world of photography with you, and hopefully you may learn a little bit, get inspired a little bit, and give you something to do while we're all locked away. Plus it keeps me out of trouble and gives me something to do. So that way we all share, we all gain. So the first one I'm going to do is all about monochrome retouching, turning your pictures into black and white, and specifically your portraits, because I shoot portraits. I'm not a landscaper, I'm not a great fan of any other genre of photography, but I love shooting people. And when you shoot people, skin is your thing, and you've got to make their skin look good. So I'm going to give you a few ways to turn your pictures to monochrome, get that perfect black and white portrait, and finish with an extra special tip that you may not have heard of before. There's going to be nothing earth-shattering in these videos. It really is what I do and what I know, and I'm happy to share it with you. If you've got anything that you'd like me to talk about, if you'd like anything covering, then just drop me a line, john@dentonphotography.co.uk, and I'd be happy to include it in a future video if we all get a chance. So without further ado, let's crack on. Now this is a picture of Carwyn taken at the Ark in Birmingham, my home studio, and it was on a recent workshop, one of the last we did there before the big close down. It was taken in colour, as you can see, beauty dish providing the illumination around her face, and a softbox giving some light down her torso and her legs. And we positioned her so there's a black V flat behind her and folded in along the side of her. As you can see, it's giving these nice dense shadows just down the sides of her down here. But I want to turn that into black and white, so how am I going to go about it? Well, the first time you get onto Photoshop, you probably think, okay, I'm going to desaturate the image. That will create me a black and white picture. So let's do that. Let's go into adjustments. Let's go into hue saturation and literally desaturate the image. Take all the colour saturation away. And straight away, that gives us a black and white conversion. But it's not particularly interesting. It's a little bit muddy around the skin tones. There's not much difference in the hair. And although we can play around with the lightness of the image overall, there's not a right lot else we can do from within the hue saturation palette. So that's not my favourite option. But what I'll do is I'll take a snapshot using a little camera icon here on the history tab, and let's call that desaturated. Desat. There we go. And then we can come back and have a look at that later on. So if we didn't like that option, where are we going to go next? Well, Photoshop provides a dozen different ways to do the same thing, and here in the adjustments tab, I'm going to choose this time the black and white adjustment layer. Now that puts this black and white adjustment layer over the top of our image, but it also gives us great control now over the individual colour channels within the image. Looking at the image before we put the layer on top, I know that the dress is green, her skin has probably got yellow and red elements in it, got red lippy and reddish hair. So I'm not expecting the magenta slider to do much, and it doesn't. Nothing achieved by moving that one around, so we can leave it alone. Blues, I'm guessing there's not a right lot of blue within the image, so that's proven. Cyan, now there's probably some cyan in the dress. If you move it all the way to the right, see how it brightens the dress up. Take it all the way to the left, it starts to darken the dress. So I'm just going to move that just down a touch. And greens, well, the dress is primarily green, and as you can see, that's lightening and darkening the dress. So that's all looking good. Now yellow, I expect to have an effect certainly on the skin and on the hair. And as I pull that up, all the way, looks ghostly, down, looks terrible. So I'm going to push that up a little bit, so it really brightens the skin, makes it glow, and it means you don't have to really do much retouching. Carrie's got great skin anyway, but if you're pulling the lightness of the skin tone up, it takes away any of the imperfections that are in there. The red channel will have an effect on her hair, as you can see, on her lips, certainly, but also on the skin. Pull it too far, she starts to look a little bit infrared. So I'm just going to drop that down just a touch And that's giving me nice dark lips, nice skin, and good detail in the hair. So that's the black and white adjustment layer. It's useful, it's a good tool to have in your armoury, and again I'm just going to take a snapshot of that, and let's call that one B and W for black and white. But it's still not my favourite way of doing a black and white monochrome conversion. So let's get into what it is. First of all, I'm going to duplicate this background layer. Control J, Command J will duplicate the background layer for you. And now on top of that, I'm going to go back to my adjustments tab, take the very last one in the list, the gradient map, and put that over top of everything. Now that's given me something that looks like an old-fashioned negative, because at the moment we're going from white down at this end, the shadow end, to black up here in the highlights. I don't want to do that, so I'm going to edit that gradient by just clicking on this bar, and it brings up the gradient editor. So down here we can start to pick the colours that we want in our shadows and we want in our highlights. So if I click that little bit there, that's going to bring up a colour picker, and for my shadows I don't want pure black. I want a dark shade of grey to give a nice soft black and white contrast. Now I could pick any of these spots around here, and as I click away you can see that it's choosing that colour, and it's starting to give me a live preview. The particular shade of grey that I've adopted over the years is represented by the hash code 181814, and as you see that's a little bit warm, and it's down here in the greys around the yellow area. So I'm going to accept that, and then here in the highlights we're going to go to pure white, represented by the hash code FFFFFF. And you can see now that what I'm getting is a beautiful soft black and white conversion. It's very contrasty, it's missing out a little bit, but it's gorgeous and soft, and sometimes that's as far as I want to go with this. But this extra layer here gives me a little bit more control, because if I click on it now and change its blending mode here, the way it interacts with the layers above and below it, to soft light or overlay, I'm going to choose soft light on this one, and I'm just going to reduce the opacity slightly, and look at the way that contrast now has built up within the image. Look at the way it's giving more punch around the hair, around the dress, and around the skin tone. I'm just going to drop the opacity of that layer to about 55%, that's looking good to me, and that's my black and white conversion done. And again, I'm going to mark it in history with a snapshot, and I'm going to call that one grad. And let's do a contrast and compare. We started with a lovely colour image of Carrie. We desaturated it. That wasn't to my liking, so I messed around with the black and white adjustment layer. Much stronger image. But my favourite of all is using the gradient map and a contrast layer underneath. Have a play with that technique. We're going to be looking at gradient maps again in an upcoming video, exploring how we can use them to colour grade our imagery. But hopefully that's given you a little insight, a few ideas, and something you might want to try on your own images. If you do, and if you like the effect, please send them through to me. You can contact me on the email address I gave out. Other contact details are coming up. Find me on social media. Please send me your pictures, send me your ideas, send me your comments, send me your critiques. We're all in this together. Wherever you're hiding in the world, I hope you're staying safe, staying at home, staying away from possible danger, and let's all meet up on the other side for a beer and some photography time. Okay, I'm out of here now, and look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye now.